All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the PurpleTrader show. As you may know, I'll be your co-host for today, the Pug. With me,
Andre Costa, the co-founder of PurpleTrader.
and today we're going to go right into it. As you can see, we're also here with Maex, who happens to be the co-founder of Centrifuge and Taulia. He's also an angel investor and startup advisor. We are very, very happy to have him on board, and we have so much we want to talk about. That's why we figured we get straight into it and not waste any time. So, Maex, how about I pass you the reins and you give a little background of who you are and let us know what you do.
Happy to do so. Hey, everyone. So Maex, my name. I'm latest is like I'm an investor in PurpleTrader, an angel investor. But in terms of background, started my career in more traditional software many years ago, and founded a few companies, exited them in the enterprise SaaS space, in the fintech area. I founded a company called Taulia, and I would say for the last 5 years, spent the vast majority of my time in crypto, Web3, starting with a company or a protocol called Centrifuge. Centrifuge, we founded in 2017, and the purpose of Centrifuge is to tokenize real-world assets. So bring things from the real world, from the non-crypto, the non-blockchain world. Think of like mortgages, invoices, think of carbon credits, bring those things, those assets from the real world on chain for the purpose of financing them. So make illiquid assets like those that I just explained liquid. Centrifuge is a decentralized protocol. There's a token out there that's traded. And since then, I handed over the CEO role. There's no true CEO needed anymore. And stay in the board of Centrifuge and focus more on advising and investing in the space since then.
Awesome. One of the things I've noticed just diving deep into your background is you're someone that is you're creating a lot of projects out there, and specifically in crypto, which is one of the things is I wanted to ask is really why are you so excited about this space, and in particular, why are you so passionate about it, and what brought you here?
I think. Yeah, look, let me start with, as I said before, I started in traditional software, very boring, on-prem back in the days. And my first company that I really scaled, we raised VC and really got a lot of customers and traction was a fintech company. And what is fintech? Well, fintech is just, in essence, put a little bit lipstick on a pig. And the pig is the traditional banking system. It's the payment rails that are out there for 50 years. It's the Visa and MasterCard rails, all this ugly stuff, this ugly shit. And what fintech does is make it user friendly, a nice UI, beautiful UX, put some APIs together, so make it really, really, really easy for people to use. That is in essence what fintech is. And if there's fintech people out there and I'm misrepresenting it, that's how I see fintech. I'm sorry. But what we didn't touch back in the days for the last, 10 years, 20 years since fintech is around, is the backend. We just built on whatever is there. And I'm really excited that now with Web3, the whole DeFi movement is just one example of crypto, where we finally go after the backend. So now, as most of us know, the UI is not the center of attention in crypto yet. We go after the backend. We modernize the rails. We build everything on a decentralized ledger, Ethereum, pick your favorite chain. And now those two things will together. So that we reached a ceiling at fintech with what we can do, how we can scale, because the backend was not ready. And now we do the backend. So I think in the next few years, we will actually see how those two things come together, how we have beautiful UIs, UX that we know from the fintech area, and the backend that is truly modern, scales, is composable, and all the good stuff that we know from crypto. It will take those. So the downside of DeFi is that it will take years, because finance itself is around for hundreds of years. There's 2 billion people with bank accounts. So to move all that on this new paradigm, on this new ledger, if you want, will take a few years. There's other areas where, crypto and Web3 have a more immediate impact, I feel. One of the areas I'm passionate about for the last 18 months is refi, regenerative finance, where we built an entire ecosystem, carbon offsets, carbon futures, completely from the scratch on chain. Why is that somewhat easier? Because there is nothing yet. There is no history. There is no baggage that we have to migrate. There's a few Excel sheets, and pretty much that's it. So that's why I'm excited about that space. And you can argue as well that in the social token area, this is something that didn't exist either before. So this is something that we built from the scratch, because we can now with token economics, with the ownership concept in crypto. I'm paused for a moment, but those are maybe three areas why I'm excited about crypto, Web3.
Awesome. I mean, just quick thing I just want to ask on the DeFi movement. What in your opinion biggest obstacles preventing it from being mainstream?
Well, there are a few. I mean, we're not trying to repeat all the talking points that everybody has in the space, but I guess UI UX still sucks for most people. Like normal folks don't want to use a wallet, don't want to use MetaMask, and don't understand what all that means. We're getting there. There are great wallets out there, and people get used to it, and we're hiding that stuff. So I think, but it's still, let's be honest, one obstacle. Unclarity in regulations is a huge obstacle. I just know many projects that are just not pushing as hard, innovation-wise, scale-wise, geographically, because they're just not sure what happens regulatory-wise. So it sounds weird, but everybody in DeFi actually likes regulation. We like certainty. We like to know what the heck we can do and what we shouldn't do. Right now, it's still very gray area and changes on a weekly basis. That's a challenge. And then obviously the fuck ups, and sorry my English, that we had with the Celsius of the world, although it wasn't DeFi, it was actually TradFi in essence, but it's associated with DeFi. Terra didn't help. So those are some obstacles to those failed, I don't want to call it experiments, a little bit too expensive for an experiment, but those are some of the things that come up in my head that we need to solve to truly scale.
Awesome. You're gonna go, Joe?
Andre, no, thank you. I mean, the key thing is regulations in crypto. I think putting those together can sound scary, but I agree it's going to be needed if we're going to move forward in this ecosystem. Andre, I know you want to ask some questions, so I'll let you take the reins.
Yeah,
right
I think Max, you brought an important point. Actually, like the UX UI just sucks. Actually, we're in PurpleTrader. One of the main problem that we're solving is around that. And for those guys you are watching this show, Max is one of our angel investors. We are really proud having Max together in our journey. So maybe Max, if you could share a little bit your approach to assess maybe DAOs or maybe crypto projects in general, just to like, what are you looking for? How to assess them? What are the areas that you are more interested about? Would be nice to hear a little bit. This your side of trader, investor.
Okay. I would consider myself more as a really early stage investor, angel investor. So most of the investments I do are actually in convertible notes, pre-token, pre anything, and in many of the projects there's a token afterwards. So what do I look at right now for the last, let's say, 12 months that I'm really excited about? And let's park the social tokens for a moment because that's an obvious one, but maybe we start with some other areas. I mentioned already refi. Again, regenerative finance, just emphasize it because I'm really passionate. If we can do our part to help with stopping or finding the measures on sustainability and climate change, I think it's a worthwhile battle. And for the reasons I outlined before, that there is nothing yet in terms of infrastructure for the carbon markets, for the carbon ecosystem, I'm really excited to be a small part in that area and investing, advising in those projects. So Flow Carbon is an example. The Return Protocol is another example of protocols and projects that I really, really like. The other area is that I like is, let's call it DeFi, but DeFi for the real world. Again, everything we did in the last 5 years, it was meaningful. We did what's called a DeFi casino, where we did things in DeFi just for the sake of DeFi. It was within crypto. Felt a little bit excessive, obviously, as we all know, but it was necessary to build those rails. It was necessary to build the foundation. But I think that now is the time, probably already the last 1 or 2 years is the time, that we make sure that everything we do in crypto and in DeFi and in Web3 benefits the real world. For instance, we're not just lending in order to, or be able to borrow against some collateral in order to buy more ETH or BTC, and again, to leverage more something else. Nice, great, but there's no real point. The point needs to be that money comes in the real economy, that small, medium businesses can grow and hire more people, that project developers of carbon projects actually have access to liquidity from DeFi, and so on and so forth. So I love projects that actually combine the crypto rails incentives, the incentive mechanisms of the blockchain of crypto with real world impact. Multi-coin coined, I guess, the term of proof of physical work, which is related as well. That actions in the physical work, like Helium, where I share bandwidth, Wi-Fi router hotspot, gets rewarded by tokens, and there's many other examples. So those are some of the things I'm excited right now in terms of areas I look into and invest in.
Awesome. And among those opportunities into the DeFi for work, how do you assess those projects to reach into a investment decision?
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, again, because I'm so early, I want to be early in projects. My small angel check is not making or breaking here the finances of a startup. So for a project, for me, I joined because I hope I can help a little bit with advice, with network, with being a sounding board. And with that, my main criteria is the one that probably every early stage investor has, is the founder, the right fit. Is there the right founder for the right market? Founder market fit, I think, is the founder product fit. Is that a fit? Is that a match? Is the founder coachable? That's important for me because I need to enjoy working with a founder, and I need to know that at least my counterparty is listening. Doesn't mean the founder is accepting everything I say, and it shouldn't be. But those are some of the criteria. It's all about the founder, and if I then can help develop a reasonable approach, a reasonable token economics, even that's amazing.
Awesome.
So to add on to that, a question I have is, for crypto startups right now in this current market, and we're talking the bear market, is there any advice you can give to the startups that are building right now in this current environment that we're witnessing, where there's a lot of instability? There's a global, many will say we're in a recession or it's an incoming recession. It's just chaos. So any tips on how to build in this environment?
I mean, just to confirm, I mean, it is bad. Like, there is no wordsmithing here. The macro is really bad. Crypto in particular is bad. And there's not a lot of optimistic people I talk to when it comes to when does it change? Is 23 the year we should raise? So it sounds a little bit doomsday style, but it is pretty bad. So with that said, I mean, if you can afford, if you're raising right now money, and many startups have to because they might have timed accidentally the market wrong, the only thing startups I help, don't be too picky. I mean, yes, a year ago, we all want to have the brand names on our cap table. We push the valuations to whatever pre-seed of super double digit and higher. I just would encourage you to park that, or actually not park. Park means it comes back. Forget about that. Those days are over for a long, long time. Valuations are reasonable, and if you find some angels, some micro VCs that can get you through the next 12 to 18 months, don't optimize too much around that. That's number one. The other one, many projects, there is still money out there. I would look if I can actually contribute as a project to maybe some of the layer 1 or some of the layer 2s or some of the larger platforms and protocols, because there are grants out there. If I can survive on some grants long enough to prove out my thesis and then go into a seed round later, I would try to do that right now. Doing those things to prolong runway and not having to go out and raise a monster seed that I maybe did planned on doing a year ago. Those days are over, or at least far, far away from now.
And I think it's a great segue into the question on the macro scale of, I just want to make sure where I wrote it. In your opinion, what is it going to take for this bear market to end in crypto?
I don't have that oracle. I mean,
any trigger?
Yeah, look, I don't know if there's a trigger. I mean, I do believe the bear market in crypto is, I'm not an economist, period. But it's highly linked to the macros, to the global economy itself. We all thought crypto is that hedge and goes in the other way when inflation goes this way. Kind of didn't work out that way. So I'm unfortunately a believer that until we solve the global problems that we have outside of crypto, that crypto will not move as a meaningful there either. So I'm not sure if there's a lot of triggers, iPhone moments that I can imagine right now. There are a few things though that will help. Again, if we solve the wallet problem for easier mass adoption, I think that is powerful. It could be a trigger for bringing more people on board. If we find another NFT moment, which roughly a year ago had its high, where we got more people on through something that people understood and it was easier to digest, I think those things could help. I mean, theoretically, maybe social tokens could be one of those where, because people understand that people want to be part of their favorite influencer, of their favorite celebrity. Maybe that could be a driver to bring us out of this mess. Again, I think there is definitely a ceiling right now from the macroeconomy that I don't think anyone in crypto can do anything about it.
But before we dive deeper into the community token, the social tokens such as community tokens, Max, I want you. Let's just take a historical approach to crypto and look at it from an outside look of, let's see, Bitcoin has been around for what? Let's say maybe not. I don't even know if it's been 15 years.
12.
In your opinion, then we are in we can say some dark times, but in the large scale, for what has happened in 12 years, is there ever been anything like that in terms of the development and the technology that's happening and the changes that are occurring?
I mean, what we achieved in the last 12 years, and let's be honest, the first, if we take those 12 years that we just established as Bitcoin, since Bitcoin is around, really innovation only happened, and I'm probably offending some people here, but really innovation only happened in the last 5 or so years since EVMs and since Ethereum is around. So, and what happened, if we look at that, what happened in the last 5 years in terms of innovations and people flocking into this ecosystem, I don't think, not in my lifetime, and I'm an old person, so actually that means something. Not in my lifetime, I saw such excitement and such a developer activity, such innovation anywhere. Even the iPhone moment, even mobile wasn't even close to what I see in crypto right now for the last 5 years. And that's one of the things actually I'm always amazed. I started again the last, 6 months or so, go to some of the conferences from Paris to New York, and we are deep in the bear market. But the excitement and the passion that I see from the community is just incredible. It's hard to explain if you haven't seen it. So there's still some bullishness in this bear market from the community, from the developer community, and from the protocols and projects. Powerful.
That's the optimism. that's what we're looking for, and that's kind of what I was trying to get it at. And
look, I mean, yes, that will go over. We will be fine. Yeah, world will not end. But it will be a little bit painful the next few months, 10 years. Will be.
No, thank you for that, Andre. What I think it's a great time to now segue into social tokens. So if you want to,
Max, I like it once you raise it that maybe social tokens could be one of the triggers. I don't know, maybe DAOs would be one of the triggers after like we had the wave of DeFi, then the NFTs, and maybe the next wave are going to be around this. So why do you think, like, what are your thoughts on community tokens, fan tokens, brand tokens into this space?
Yeah, I mean, it is something that people understand. I'm being part of a community. I participate in a community. I get something out of the community, access, rewards. I mean, there's people understand that. In DeFi, it's a very small community of very hardcore finance people that actually understand it, and some wannabe finance people that actually understand how to invest and how to trade like traditional classical financial assets and tokens. In what we just discussed in a social token, community token world, it's more accessible and understandable. So if we get the UI and the UX right, if we remove the concerns and the fear from people, I do believe that this is a nice on-ramp to get, they always talk about the next billion people into Web3, into crypto. I can see that because it's accessible and understandable for people.
How different are those social tokens to the traditional crypto in your opinion? And maybe why do you see this unlocking this? Why do you see this potential that you mentioned?
And it's not black and white, right? There is probably some DeFi tokens, definitely there is, where some of the things I'm saying right now are applicable as well. But when there's emotional connections that I have, if I own a piece of a creator, of my favorite band, of if I'm part of a club, there is an emotional connection. I'm way more passionate, I would assume, than being part of an investment club. Because I get that unique access and that unique that touch point to that community and potentially to the celebrity, to the token issuer that I didn't have before. So I think that's a huge difference to TradFi, to DeFi and to tokens in that DeFi realm.
Awesome. And there are some challenges, right? Max. Maybe around like metrics, trust, and other points. So how do you see these, and maybe how do you see PurpleTrader potentially solving that? What are your thoughts?
It's a good point. I mean, look, if I'm a finance person and trading in DeFi, I got to put quite some work into understanding some people just don't put the work in and just buy tokens but if I'm a serious trader in DeFi, I got to put on some work in a token. I got to understand the token economics. I got to understand the project. So there's firms around that help me with that, from the Mesaris of the world to others. So I understand better what token I'm getting into, why I buy a token. And I guess we need to have the same in the social token area, right? I understand that I like, who do I pick? Mario Götze. I love Mario Götze as a soccer player, but the token is issued. I need to understand if that token is if it's really from Mario Götze. What do I get for this token? What are the token economics behind the token? What is the supply side, and so on and so forth. There's so many things I need to know. Or should know as a trader, that I don't think exist yet in a really great way to get people on board and comfortable to invest in those tokens. And I think PurpleTrader is addressing that.
Yeah, exactly. The way that we see, like, there are, of course, so many large exchanges like traditional crypto, but they are limited to large cap token. Even the data is limited to the other industry. There is nothing yet built because it's so new. Like everything, it's very new into this market, and and that's how we are approaching this. So this is very nice to hear from you, and it's interesting because in the social token industry, I have the same feeling that you mentioned, that once you go to the conference, like the excitement, the opportunity, even like to empower creators, to empower community in a way that wasn't able before. Like it's so amazing.
100%.
We are pretty early for sure, but that's the time to build. Like
100%.
I used to comment, like OpenSea, for instance, they started, I don't know, in 2017. Like, and it took like 4 years to actually to see NFT explode. So things takes time to get the maturity and
it's just how it is. I mean, why? Yeah, we're a little bit spoiled because there's some breakouts specifically in crypto where in a few weeks we made hundreds of millions. This is not this was fake. This was not the thing. You've got to build. It takes time. It takes years. I mean, my first startup took 7 years to sell. It was a traditional one. The second one, 12 years. Yes, crypto is a different speed, but I don't see that being like weeks and months. We got to build for a few years, and things will happen. With your OpenSea example is a good one, Andre.
Yeah, awesome,
cool.
And maybe Max, regarding the regulatory environment for like approaching like KYC, either DeFi and CeFi platforms, how do you see this? Like, regardless whether we agree or not, how do you see platforms like us should approach this?
Yeah, and look, let's play by the rules right now. I mean, as I said before, not that clarity on the rules is a big problem. So I would, as a DeFi project, generally, if there's a potential need for KYC, do KYC. Find the right player that makes it painless for someone to onboard. Play by the rules. There's great projects out there that right now actually build things like reusable KYC, your identity on chain as an NFT. Violet is a good example from my friend Philip. Those are some of the things I'm really looking forward to make KYC easier. But if there's a need for KYC, a potential need for KYC, just do the KYC. That's my recommendation. Then there are projects where clearly there is no need. Then skip it. Fine. For us at Centrifuge, that's not a question.
Awesome.
So, Max, we're getting we want to be respectful of your time, and we're getting to that 30-minute mark. I want to ask one last question because you've been great, you've been helpful, and we appreciate all the talk today. As we ask all our guests, is there could you give us some of the most important lessons that you've learned so far working in this space?
I mean, there's a lot of things that I learned over the time, but just staying in the space over the years was extremely rewarding. And I doubted in the first 1 or 2 years. It was a smaller ecosystem. We went 2018, 19 through the winter. But just staying alive, doing your thing, just continue working on it. And we came out then in end of 19, 2020. DeFi was a hot topic in DeFi summer. And I think it will be the same here. So being for a while in that space, there's ups and downs. Again, just to be fair and transparent, this is a pretty big down. But it will be over. So whatever you can do to survive, be creative, get through this, don't give up. And in X month, we will be through this and beautiful things on the other side of billions of users, hopefully.
Love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's our last question.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Max.
You bet.
All right. I'm gonna end it.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys.